Hey everyone, you're watching Wisdom Shots. Last week, July 18th, was International Nelson Mandela Day, his birth anniversary. There is one quote from Nelson Mandela on forgiveness that had a great impact on me. As I walked out the door towards the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I would still be in prison. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years of his life in prison. 27 years of his life. Now, the last sentence gives me goosebumps. I would still be in prison. He was talking about emotional prison. During his time in prison, he was isolated, kept under terrible conditions, and didn't know when he would be released. Just think about it. He could have remained angry with all those folks who imprisoned him. They took 27 years of his prime life. Instead of living in an angry, depressed state, Nelson Mandela chose forgiveness. He was wise enough to know that when you hold on to anger, you don't affect others, you only hurt yourself. He was able to understand something many people fail to accept. The act of forgiveness creates true freedom in our lives. Emotional freedom. Most of us, most people are in prisons of negative thoughts and feelings. Nelson Mandela experienced some of the worst possible situations in life, but was still able to create remarkable positive changes in this world. And he's an inspiration for millions now. There is this proverb that says, "He who seeks revenge must dig two graves, one for his enemy and one for himself." Revenge will kill you, literally. Resentment is like drinking the poison and expecting the other person to die. Whether it's a simple spat with your spouse or long-held resentment towards a family member or friend, unresolved conflicts can go deeper than we realize, and it affects our mental as well as our physical health. Now, I understand forgiving can be hard. Our trust may have been broken, hearts crushed, feelings hurt, ruined opportunities for you and more. But if you don't forgive whoever has wronged you, we may be living with a cloud of anger and blame over our heads. Forgiveness has the power to free us from our past, negative feelings and it will bring us peace. It can even release us to fulfill our potential and turn our lives around for the better. Of late, the power of forgiveness is mentioned in most self-help books, and I completely agree with that. Basically, it says, if you are not successful, if you're not having the life you want, if you're facing a lot of challenges, obstacles in life, even after doing all the right things, working hard, etc., the reason can be stacked up negative emotions from the past, especially resentment, anger, grudges, etc. Let me share an example for this. This is from my favorite teacher, Dr. Wayne Dyer. He talks about his personal story on forgiveness, which led to an amazing shift in his life. So Dr. Dyer's father abandoned him when he was an infant. His mother, who was just 22, had two other boys. They suffered a lot as a family. He grew up hating his father, deep anger against him. When he was 34, he found out that his father had been dead. He decided to visit his father's grave. He stomped on the grave and expressed all his pent-up anger and feelings. He stood there for 3 hours. But in the last few minutes, something came over him. He said to his father, From this moment on, I send you love and I forgive you for everything that you have done to me and our family. Who am I to judge you?" When he walked away from his father's grave that day, he said, everything in my life started to change. He was into drinking, his life was out of control, he was overweight, had bad relationships. His act of forgiveness helped him release a lifetime of anger and pain. And Dr. Dyer said his whole life took off after that. He stopped drinking, got back into shape, he started attracting the right people into his life. He wrote his first book after that, which became an international bestseller. It sold 60 million copies around the world. So everything transformed in his life when he forgave. I also heard from motivational speaker Les Brown about the power of forgiveness. He shares his story of how he got rid of chronic back pain, after forgiveness. Real true forgiveness is the cornerstone for a loving heart and a peaceful life. Now, some of you may have this question in mind, does it mean that I have to forgive the person who hurt me badly? Should I forgive someone who abused me? Now, how can I forgive someone who ruined my life? Okay, let me make it clear. Forgiveness is not accepting the behavior, whatever bad behavior. It's not about accepting the person who hurt you. It's not about forgetting, or you have to rejoin with the person. No, it's also not about letting go of the justice. The forgiveness we are talking about here is taking responsibility for your feelings, making peace with yourself. It's an active process in which you make a conscious decision to let go of negative feelings, whether the person deserves it or not. Forgiveness is a choice. Okay, so now when it comes to forgiveness, there are two kinds of forgiveness: forgiving yourself and forgiving others. Let me start with forgiving yourself. See, no one is perfect. We all have flaws and we make mistakes. Self-forgiving is all about accepting what has happened and showing compassion to yourself. Forgiving yourself is about finding a way to learn from your experiences and growing as a person. To do this, you need to understand a couple of things. Number one, why you behaved in the way you did. Number two, what steps can you take to prevent the same behavior again in the future. Number three is acknowledge your true feelings and then move on. Letting go and offering yourself forgiveness can help boost your feelings of wellness. It improves your self-esteem. There are religious rituals like confession. In India, we have Prayachit, right? All these are based on the same principle that forgiveness is very important for our personal growth and happiness. The second one is forgiving others. There is one statement which I remind myself whenever I find it difficult to forgive others. The statement is this: people are always making the best choices available to them. What it means is everyone is doing their best with limited awareness, limited knowledge they have. Very few people wake up in the morning with the mindset that I have to make 10 people miserable today. No. The thing is, we have no idea about what's going on in someone's life. To give an example, I'll give a generic thing, okay? Imagine a traffic policeman. He's rude to you. So I can bet that you will be 10x ruder than him if you stand under the sun for 8 hours like him. Now, similarly, everyone is responding to you based on a lot of factors which we don't have visibility. There is one more statement on these lines: hurt people, which means who are hurting you are hurt by others. Maybe in their childhood or by others, at some point in their life. So one more way of looking at this is to know that all these are lessons in life for your spiritual growth. I was talking about, Dr. Wayne Dyer, right? So he describes his father as the greatest teacher. Even Tony Robbins, his mother tortured him like crazy during his teenage. Now he says he is the man who is now because of his mother. He became strong because of those experiences. So having perspectives like this will open up your mind and you will have more compassion towards people. The point here is you have to come out of this experience as a champion, not as a victim. If you are really serious about practicing forgiveness, I'll suggest you a wonderful book. It's called Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. He explains an easy-to-do 5-step process to practice forgiveness. You can also visit radicalforgiveness.com and download online guided worksheets and do forgiveness exercises. It's very powerful. As Alexander Pope says, to err is human, to forgive, divine. Forgiveness can be a gift to yourself and others. Forgive yourself and others to experience true freedom. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sreejith Krishnan. Stay strong, stay safe.